Everybody knows how to play tic-tac-toe, so in this video, I'm just going to give you the 5 tips to make you better at tic-tac-toe. Have you ever seen those chickens that know how to play tic-tac-toe and they never lose? Well, let me explain why. Because tic-tac-toe has a couple strategies, and as long as you know strategies, you're never going to lose. Now, really, I should be clear and say, with tic-tac-toe, it's not about winning. It could be also drawing. Really, the goal of tic-tac-toe is just not to lose. Most games are draws. So you want to win, or you want to make sure there's a draw. You just don't want to lose. Tip number 1, always try to go first, because the person who's in the most amount of control is the person who goes first, and that's the X's. We're going to try both scenarios, whether you go first as an X or whether you go second as an O. In this first situation, where you go first as an X, let's play out the scenarios that give you the best advantage. Play your first X in a corner, not the middle. Most experienced tic-tac-toe players put an X in a corner when they get to play first. And the reason for this is that it gives your opponent the most opportunities to make a mistake. And what I mean by that is, if your opponent responds by putting an O anywhere except the middle, you're going to win. Let me just show you some examples. Let's say you go first, you've put the X here, your opponent puts an O right there. There is now no way that that opponent can stop you from winning. No matter what I do, if I put an X here, he'll try to stop me with an O there. I put an X there. It doesn't matter what he does. If he puts an O there, I still win this way. If he puts an O there, I still win this way. To repeat again, when you start, play the corner. If your opponent does not put one in the middle, you are going to win. Which leads me to the second one. If your opponent plays the O in the center, if you're X's and you play the corner, and then your opponent is O's and they play the center, you have to wait for them to make a mistake before you can win. And if they continue to play correctly, it's a tie. So you basically have 2 options for your second move. Option number 1 is place your second X in the opposite corner from the first so that it goes X, O, X. If your opponent responds by putting an O in one of the 2 remaining corners, I can guarantee you a win, because all you need to do is put it in the other corner, and you have 2 options. So to recap, you put an X, your opponent needs to know to put it in the middle, you put it on the other side, and if your opponent puts it in a corner, you've won. The second strategy, if you play an X and your opponent correctly plays the O in the middle, is that you put your second X on an edge square, not a corner, and one that's not touching your first X. So in other words, that would be either this one or this one. I'll put it here. If your opponent does not automatically protect this X, you will win. So if your opponent, for example, puts an O in the corner on the far side of this X, this is a guaranteed win for you. Oh, I'll just go here and put an X. What you've done is now you've guaranteed a win because you can put an X here and you can put an X there, guaranteeing the win. And just one more time, if you put the X in the corner and your opponent, who must put it in the center, doesn't, and puts it, say, on an edge next to you, it's an automatic win for you, like I said, because they didn't put it in the center. But let's just see that play out. All you have to do is put an X in another corner that is not across from your opponent, and you will win. So I can put an X here. As soon as your opponent puts the O there, you put the X there, and you now have winner's choice, and you will win. Again, to recap, you play an X in the corner, your opponent does not play an O in the middle, you're going to win. So let's try the next variation. So now let's talk about if you don't get to go first. If you are second, if you are O's, what do you do? Well, unfortunately, if your opponent knows how to play the game fairly well, the best you can do with O's, assuming your opponent's not going to make a mistake, is to force a draw. So you're going second. You're O's. Your opponent goes first. If your opponent is smart and they start in the corner, as they should, you need to do your best to force a draw. So now your opponent's X, your O, you must immediately go to the middle. You must. And now your goal is to force a draw. As I showed you before, if your opponent tries to go here, you must play next to that X. So if your opponent starts by putting their X in the center, you put an O in the corner. Like I said, it's very hard to win when you go second. You really just want to force a draw, because after that, all you can really do is just keep blocking your opponent from scoring. There's essentially no way for you to win from this position unless your opponent literally makes a massive mistake. But no matter what they do in this scenario, you always have the ability to block them. You're not going to win unless your opponent makes a major mistake by not realizing you have two in a row. So, for example, if your opponent then comes up here with an X and you come with an O, they will block, then you block. It's a cat's game. What if your opponent starts the game with an edge piece? Which, by the way, I do not recommend anyone ever doing. Most of the time, your opponent's going to start with the center, or if they're smart, the corner. But what happens if they start with an edge? If they put an edge, not a corner or a center, you do have a small chance to win as the person who goes second. What you're going to do is you're going to then take the center. If, and then this is important, if your opponent follows up by putting their X on the other side, XOX, or it could be up and down, XOX. But if you have a row or a column where they put the X, you put the O, and they put the X on the other side of you, you have a small chance to win. What you do is put your second O in a corner. Then, if your opponent starts to chase you by putting an X there, you go to block them, of course, and now they're stuck because you have one and you have two. If they block you here, you win here. If they block you here, you win here. So if they go XOX, you put it in the corner and you can win a defensive move. In my opinion, the only way to win going second as an O is if your opponent puts a piece on an edge. Hope you found this interesting, informative. By the way, I have so many other how to play videos. I think you should check them out if you get a chance. If there's another game you want me to teach, easy or hard, let me know in the comments. Thanks for coming. Bye.